a lot of you have the Teams app installed on your phone. I know this because I've been in Teams meetings where all of a sudden you show up and you're in your car, and I know you didn't take your laptop into your car because there's no Wi-Fi in your car, so it must have been your phone, and that's great. The companion app for the phone makes a lot of sense. When you have your phone next to your computer, it's also really useful. And we discovered that during the summer when we were doing pre-service, that I was able to follow chats and see whose hands were raised while presenting from my computer. And that kind of became an issue. The companion mode on the phone makes a lot of sense. In fact, when you enter companion mode, it even knows to like keep the audio off so there's no interference. It's a really useful tool. That coupled with Mr. Lasowitz did a training on the last PD day. A number of math teachers in particular were impressed by his use of the Wacom One tablet. It's a small black piece of plastic that you use with a stylus, and as you write on the plastic, the sort of digital ink appears on your computer screen. There's some latency issues. You have to like sort of write on the plastic and look at your screen and make sure what you're writing makes sense, but it's very useful in this environment. Especially I've noticed for math teachers who want to be able to work out problems and show steps. It's very useful. So there was that piece of information and the companion mode piece of information, and it occurred to me, I bet my iPad also does companion mode. Um, I just saw somebody said that I look like I'm about to DJ at a club. This beanie is actually given to me by my mother and not remotely cool, so I don't know what that's all about. Um, but back to the topic at hand. Um, I found, in fact, that the iPad does work the same way with companion mode. So that sort of opens up a lot of possibilities. And we're looking at the possibility of deploying iPads to teachers as a result. So what I want to do right now is share my iPad screen. It's presently in companion mode, and show you what apps could look like using a screen share on the iPad. I want everybody's most brutal and most honest feedback on this. If this ends up being a complete joke and those I'm gonna turn the chat off because it's making me laugh too much. Y'all crazy. All right. In a Middle Eastern club, those don't exist. Come on now. That's what we're gonna do. If you think this is great and want to let me know about that, great. If it's not working for you, let me know. What we're gonna do at the end of this is have you email me if you're interested in this iPad idea. We have a number of student iPads on campus. They weren't purchased for this purpose. However, we can't use them with the students right now because of COVID-19. So we want to pilot it with these iPads, see if we could develop some best practice using them. And then when we give the iPads back to the kids, hopefully when we get back to any sense of normalcy, we'll be able to purchase new iPads for teachers. At least that's the current idea. And we'll be using the iPad, also using the Apple Pencil, which we plan on purchasing as well. So I'm going to go ahead. You can see my setup here in my office. I have it on a little arm, very inexpensive Amazon purchase. You can also buy these at Five Below. So that they're not too bad. And we're going to be able to provide this kind of these kinds of accessories as a part of this idea. I'm going to go ahead and share my iPad screen. Okay, so when I share it, it gives me a 3-second countdown, and now it should be sharing. And now what you see right now is what I see on my iPad. With the iPad, we use multi-finger gestures, just like many are used to using on your phone. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of Teams, and you'll see some apps that I have open for quick demonstration to you today. Just a quick tour. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Google Earth real quick. Right now, we're actually in the Grand Canyon. But maybe you'd prefer something more urban. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out of the Grand Canyon and take a tour of, where should we go? How about the Big Apple? So we're kind of closing in on, I can see Manhattan starting to render here. As I start to get down low, I'm going to click the 3D button here. and we can take a tour of Manhattan if we'd like. And yes, Houston's skyscrapers are also rendered in Google Earth for you to use. Right? With the use of screen share, the lack of frame rate that we get from sharing video isn't nearly as debilitating. Um, there is a little bit of a stutter, but it's not so horribly bad. A lot of the teachers that I've talked to of late have mentioned that they have a desire to also use a document camera. How great would it be if I could have the document camera set up and so on? And some of you are doing it. This could also take the place of that. I'm going to go ahead and close out of Google Earth. There's so much more with Google Earth than what I'm showing you, but I'm going to close out of that. There's an app that Belkin has made called Stage, which effectively turns your iPad into a document camera. It uses a camera in the iPad. I'm going to go ahead and switch pencils up. Right now I have the Apple Pencil in my hand. Of course, that doesn't do anything good for me on paper.
Shaw, can you say that app again? What is it called?
Company Belkin, Belkin. And Belkin is famous for making computer accessories. Natural. Unfortunately, as soon as the pandemic hit, all of them were sold out, and so we're hoping that they're going to be able to make some more. But that's something that we're looking at purchasing as well. But that's if I hold that pencil, the very last feature is gives me the ability to highlight as well. So I'm highlighting through text that I've written here. Now, if I also had if I had a textbook under here, now, what I would hope is over time we would get more comfortable with the use of the Apple Pencil or a stylus of that nature. I'm going to go ahead and go over to an app called Good Notes. I'm going to create a new involved. Nothing. Some of the rooms that I've seen, you look like the Wi-Fi closet. There's so many wires, right? We're tired of the wires. All of us are tired of wires, and I agree. So here's one of the beauties of writing on the iPad itself as opposed to writing on paper and then using a document camera. I can zoom in. I can select this, what you just saw me select is a auto shape generator. So if I draw something close to a circle, it'll correct it into a perfect ellipse. If I need to put text in it, I can. Or I can also write. I'm going to go ahead and choose to write. I'm going to zoom in further. I zoom out, that comfortable handwriting, nice big size handwriting is zoomed away, and then I can keep using this page. Whereas what so often happens with a document camera is you want to write big enough so kids can see, you end up writing really big on that page, and now you're turning pages, right? The context of what you're writing is kind of gone. That's what I like about this. In addition to lunch and what have you, but there's another app in way of GoodNotes. You also have OneNote, which is free, and it does work with this. Um, there's all sorts of other things that you can do. Here's we go to OneNote and you'll see
tool, and then you can use your tool to draw straight lines or
now it's perfect. And we first you get them hooked, right? And then you sell. Um, Here is what I'm asking. Uh, those teachers that do participate in this pilot project are asked to join a Microsoft Teams team that's going to focus on sharing once every 2 weeks, sharing best practices that they've stumbled upon using this setup with companion mode and the iPad. That's all it is. To me, I would really appreciate people's participation because I want to see this become something that we invest in and start to develop even further. Some of these apps cost money, so GoodNotes costs money, a little bit of money. Likewise, Stage has a free version and a pro version that costs some money. I would be very, very pleased to find money to pay for volume licensing of those apps and deploy them to all teacher iPads. If that's something that starts to come out of these conversations, for example, so that's where we're at right now. I'm curious to hear what people's thoughts are. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and going to start checking the chat. Hopefully, the jokes about me being a DJ have come to an end. But maybe like was it jokes about teas and fountain pens will last for several weeks. We'll see. So that's what I've got.
So Shaw, I just wanted to say, yeah, luckily by accident, because I don't have a touchscreen computer,
Right.
they
Mhm.
gave me an iPad, and
Mhm.
I can attest to what you're saying. It's everything you were saying is 100% on point.
Thank you.
Sometimes it does crash though, with Teams.
Yeah.
It uses up a lot of memory, but other than that, I mean, and I learned some things from you today, so I just wanted to just
Oh,
co-sign.
great.
It's really
Well,
good.
I mean, I've got to say, sometimes everything seems to crash. Isn't that a fact? Like everything will crash at one time or the other. And so the whole problem with when we started looking at this workflow, one of the issues was I wanted to be able to set my phone on this and use my phone as a document camera and switch between 3 screens. Well, that worked great the first time I did it. Then it occurred to me maybe I should try it in a couple of different spots in the building. And what I found was that my phone required phone reception. The beauty of the iPad is that it actually tethers to the HSD Wi-Fi, which is a little bit more secure than phone reception most of the time, unless you're Jayla Sanders, in which case you never ever have Wi-Fi. I'm so sorry about that. I wish we could. I hope that's been fixed. But in general, Wi-Fi is better in this building than phone reception is, and that's why I thought maybe we need to figure out another solution. So we're going to try our best with this. We have the iPads that we have in stock are the 11-inch iPad Pros, the last generation iPad Pros that are the slightly smaller ones, but still plenty big, and we're going to be able to deploy them soon. We have to purchase Apple Pencils still, but we're going to deploy them without the pencils because it's still better than not having them. You can even write with your finger and it works. So we're going to start that way. But we want to get these out to teachers as quickly as possible.